Learn to crochet the magic mushroom border all the way around. With just a few rows and one contrasting color, you can turn a plain piece of knitting or crochet into a masterpiece. The mushrooms just pop with excitement, which makes it the perfect edging for a blanket. To address all your creative ideas, the companion pattern includes 3 variations of the magic mushroom border. You can go all the way around, from side to side, and of course, upside down. So no matter what your project, you can trim like a pro. This demonstration is using worsted weight yarn and an H hook, which yields a border approximately 3 inches wide. We start with the foundation round or rounds of a single crochet. With the right side facing and starting in the corner, just work a single crochet in each stitch and 1 single crochet chain 1 single crochet in each corner. If you are adding more than 1 foundation round, turn after each round. This also means that you need to work an odd number of rounds so that the right side of the focal mushroom appears on the right side of the project. So I've just turned my work. Now this yarn tail I'm going to weave in under this edge so it's lost forever. And I always do my foundation row in the same color as my main blanket or my main piece. So that's my main color, is this light pale green. The second thing that you do is you count from corner to corner, including the corner stitches, how many stitches you have on each side. Increase or decrease as needed so that you have a multiple of 6 plus 1 on each side before beginning the first pattern round. So I'll have 4 repeats on each of the sides. Now I'm going to continue in this color. Round 1 starts with a chain 1, and then I'm going right into the corner space and work a single crochet. Then I'm going to skip 2, 1, 2. I'm going to work 7 double crochets into that 1 stitch. Okay, so that is 7 double crochets into this 1 stitch. Then I'm going to skip 2 more, 1, 2, and I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch. Then I'm going to skip 2 more, and I'm going to work my double crochets, my 7 double crochets. So you can see how my 4 repeats are shaping up. So now I'm going to skip 2 more. Well, this is 1 and 2, and work a single crochet right into there. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. So skip 2 more, work 7 double crochets right into that next stitch. Then I'm going to skip 2 more, 1, 2, and I'm going to work my single crochet right into the corner space, which is perfect for the corner. Now I'm going to chain 1, and that helps me have enough space to go around this corner, and I'm going to work another single crochet right into that same corner. So I have a corner chain right at the corner between these two, because this single crochet belongs to this side and this single crochet belongs to this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my marker in there just so you know where my corner is so we can go back to it. I'm going to skip 2, 1, 2, and go into the third one and work 7 double crochets. Now we just made it around, and in the same place where the first single crochet is, we're going to work a second single crochet and a chain 1 to form the corner. Then we slip stitch into this stitch. Then we can cut our yarn off. So for round 2, we want to turn. Now, if you recall, This is the right side because our very first foundation row is facing us. So if we want, we can put another marker down here. So we're going to insert our hooks in the corner space. We're going to do clusters on this row, but one of the clusters occurs right at the beginning, so it's done a little bit differently. We're going to use a double strand of yarn, the yarn tail and the yarn, and chain 2. Pull the end through. We'll weave that end in later. Now we're going to yarn over as if we're going to do a double crochet, insert our hook, pull up a loop, 3 loops on hook, yarn over, pull through 2. What that does is I'm advancing at this point. I'm not doing another yarn over and pull through 2. What I'm doing is I'm just reserving that last loop. So now I'm going to yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 4 loops on the hook. Only when you do a cluster at the beginning of a row do you have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That creates the corner space so we can turn. So now we're going to yarn over, go into the exact same space again, pull up a loop to do a double crochet, but we're doing a cluster, so we're going to only pull through 2. Reserve that loop. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We have another loop. When we get 5 loops on hook, which have basically 4 incomplete double crochets, we have 5 loops on hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5. Then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now, count up on your mushroom cap. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, insert your hook under both loops and work a slip stitch. This is different than the magic mushroom regular pattern. So just be aware of that because on the border we have to do a couple of different adjustments. So it's a little bit different. 1, 2, 3 chains. Now we're back in the dip. In the dip there is a single crochet way at the bottom, right there. And we're going to work another cluster. So yarn over. Now we have our carrying loop. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's the first one. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, pull through 2. That's our second incomplete double crochet. We need 4. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's our third. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 4 incomplete double crochets and the carrying loop. Yarn over and pull through all 5 loops on hook. It's just like this one here. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and get over to the 4th one, which is right at the top of it. Insert under both loops and slip stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and repeat all the way to the corner. I'll meet you then. As you approach the corner, chain 3, and then go into the corner and work 1 cluster. Chain 5 to turn the corner, and 1 more cluster right into that corner. Chain 3, hop over to the first shell and slip stitch in the top of it. So you have just perfectly turned that corner. You're just going to continue all the way around, and I will meet you when we get to the end. We have just gotten around, so I'm going to chain my last 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to slip stitch right into the top of that cluster and join the round. And now we're going to turn. And I'm going to chain 1. Now, this yarn tail I can bury as I go. Go into the next space and work 2 single crochets. Then, into the slip stitch that is in the row below, I am going to slip stitch yet again. Into the next space, 2 single crochets, and in the top of the cluster, the 2 loops that look like they're at the top of the cluster, you insert into the first one, pull up a loop, insert into the second one, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. A single crochet, 2 together. Continue with 2 single crochets in each of the spaces, 1 in the top of the slip stitch at the top of the mushroom cap, and a single crochet 2 together at the top of each cluster. Well, when we get to the corner, we're going to do the single crochet 2 together, just like before over the cluster. But now we have a corner space. So in the corner space, we're going to work 2 single crochets. We're going to chain 1 to turn the corner. Then begin this next side with 2 single crochets and a single crochet 2 together over the second corner cluster. I'll meet you when we get to the end. Once the last cluster is completed, simply slip stitch into the first single crochet of the round to join. And as you know, this is the single crochet 2 together, and I'm going to slip stitch over to it just to reposition my yarn in the right place, and chain 3 to start my next round. Then I'm going to work 3 double crochets right at the base of that chain 3, because it's in the exact same space where the single crochet 2 together is on the row below. Once I have my 4 double crochets, I'm going to skip the 2 single crochets and go right into the corner space and slip stitch. Now, what you've just made is a half of a shell. We'll finish the other half of the shell when we get back at the end of this round. Now, we're going to work a shell right in the top of the next cluster. That's 7 double crochets. Now it gets kind of tight in there, but that's okay. And then we skip 2, 1, 2, and slip stitch right into that top of that slip stitch of the row below. That ties that mushroom cap right down. So this corner has a half a mushroom cap right now and a whole mushroom cap. And just continue on and around. I'll meet you when we get back to the beginning. Gone all the way around. I still have an incomplete mushroom cap. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to put 3 more double crochets in that exact same space as the first 4. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the chain. You could end after this row. This is what it would look like, but I choose to go a little bit further because I like to really play on the shape of the mushroom. Normally I would do the 5th and the 6th round in the same color as the center, but I'm going to use a slightly darker shade of yarn because I want you to see what belongs to what row. This is the right side of the last row, which is the right side of the blanket, so turn it once again. We're going to attach the yarn along the side somewhere in the 4th double crochet of the shell. But I do want a little bit more substance when I insert this hook. So I'm going to pick up the loop just below the front loop on the front, right there, and the front loop. And I'm going to pick up my yarn. I'm just going to chain 1 to begin it. And I'm going to pull that yarn tail through. I don't want that one to be available right now. Okay? Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to do a treble crochet cluster in this loop down here. So let's talk about the treble crochet cluster. First off, we're going to yarn over the hook twice. So we have 3 loops on the hook before we even insert our hook. And we're going to go around all of these slip stitches and go right into the center of the top of the shell, the 4 rows below. And then pull up a loop. Now you're going to have to make it a little long because you're going to scrunch that in and you're going to do it tight. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. That's an incomplete treble crochet right now. We're reserving the last loop. You see I have 2 loops on the hook. Then I'm going to do it again. Yarn over and yarn over. So now I have 4 loops on hook. Insert in the very same spot. Pull up a loop. Nice and tight. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 3 loops on hook with 2 incomplete treble crochets. Yarn over and pull through all 3. Now what that does is it makes a sort of a thick stitch, which is kind of neat because it separates my mushrooms. Then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch in the front loop only of the 4th double crochet of the next shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. But I'm going to pick up the front loop. This is the front loop here, but I'm also picking up the loop that's just below it and slip stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm back to going right into the 4th double crochet of the shell 4 rows below. Do your double wrap, go right into the corner, pull up a loop, and work a treble cluster. That's the first treble cluster. Then we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to turn the corner, and then work another treble cluster in the very same space. And you're doing it in this space because you can't go all the way down. It's too far a distance. That's the only real difference about the corner, because this pinches all the way down to the top of this, but there is no shell in this corner. So you have to go into the corner space. And then you're just going to continue down the next side. Okay, I've made it round. I finished my chain 3, and I'm just going to slip stitch into that very first stitch at the beginning of the round. That's it. Nice and tight. This end I'm going to weave in before I get back to it, but in the meantime, I'm going to turn. The right side will face forward when we put the last round on, and the mushrooms face forward when we put the last round of the mushroom on. And that gives it a much prettier look. So I've chained my 1, and now I'm going to work 7 double crochets in the top of this treble cluster. To improve your technique, if you just go under the top 2 loops, you get a little bit of some stability for your 7 double crochets. But if you dig a little bit, you'll see that there's a little circle in the middle of the stitch toward the top that separates the first part of the cluster and the second part of the cluster. If you go in there to put your 7 double crochets, you will have a really centered shell. It'll be very centered on that top of the cluster, and it is very, very stable. and very pretty. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. Then we just slip stitch into the top 2 loops of the slip stitch to tie it down. Now take a look at this. Look how pretty that is. And that improves your crochet technique. People will wonder what you did to get that effect. There is no top of the mushroom in this corner. So all we're going to do is slip stitch into the corner. Now we're at the point where we're going to go into the top of the next cluster in the corner. Well, we've made it back to the beginning, and I just finished my 7 double crochets in the last treble cluster. So right here is where I'm going to slip stitch to the first stitch, which is the chain 1 at the beginning of the round. I'm going to cut my yarn and I'm going to weave in this end. One thing, a tip about weaving in this end, is you do not want to weave it in along the outer edge because it will come undone. I'm just going to double stitch here, and then I'm going to bring it along the chain of the row below until I get to the shell. I'm weaving it down basically 1 row up until the shell. Then I'm going under the loops of the shell. They're so thick you won't find it there, and pull it and keep pulling it so you adjust the tension and just take another stitch and then come back through. Wow, you've just turned 6 rounds into the magic mushroom border. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications of upcoming videos and events. Happy crocheting!